Good morning. You are on the Unity of Fort Collins Love Stream. I want to welcome you here to join us in today's service online as we've been doing. And I just want to say thank you for your presence. You are a gift and we welcome your presence, knowing that we are a community of love. We are a world that is based in love and that we are coming together this morning as love streamers. It's not live stream, it's a love stream. And so let us just be in our togetherness today as we go into today's lesson and talk. I am Liz Luoma. I am the spiritual leader here at Unity of Fort Collins. And I'm here with Franklin Taggart, who is our wonderful and amazing tech and our music director. So he'll be bringing us the music for today. We also have our youth director, Pam Timms, who will be sharing a story for the youth later in our service. So as for any announcements, we just announced that we're here. We are up and running, very limited access to the building, except that we are still here taking donations and sharing the love in any way that we can. You can find all of our information, announcements, things that are happening online on our Unity of Fort Collins website, as well as in our e-newsletter and on our Facebook page. So I invite you now to just join me as we start with a centering prayer. So let us just, if it feels comfortable, sit back, take a breath in, and let it go. And let us take another cleansing breath, centering breath in. And letting it go. And let us continue to focus now on that breath, that divine breath of life, knowing that that breath is spirit that is breathing us. It is love, that we breathe in that love, and we breathe out that love, and we settle into the experience of divine love right here, right now, knowing that we are surrounded, filled with that presence, that power of divine love and intelligence. And we center into that place that knows no beginning and no end, and we open our minds and our hearts to the infinite love that surrounds and flows through us. We open to the messages in today's experience and talk. We know that there are gifts and presents and blessings. And so we open our minds and our hearts and our beings to the infinite love that heals and reveals. And so we just take that in and let it go, knowing that this time together is a shared experience of divine love, and that we are all lifted, shifted, and gifted into a higher expression of the love that we are and for our world. And so we let it go. We let it be. And if you'd like to enter that with me, please join me by saying, "And so it is." And now I'd like to invite you to join in the unity opening that we will all be saying together as it comes up upon our screen. And taking a breath in, let us share together. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world. And so it is.
Good morning, everyone. We are going to start by singing I Am Opening. You remember this is the round. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. The words are there on your screen. Go ahead and sing along. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the world. I am opening, 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 I am opening.
And so for today, our reading is coming from the Miracle Minute, Practical Wisdom to Inspire Your Day by Mary Morrissey. Today, I am reading on knowing ourselves. It was the 13th century poet Rumi who said, "It's as if the king has sent you into a far and distant land with one specific task to accomplish. You can accomplish 100 other things, but if you fail to accomplish the one thing for which you have been sent, it would be as you had done nothing." As you had done nothing? A God, the God, grand overall designer of the universe, has sent us into a far and distant land, planet Earth, human birth. This grand opportunity called our lifetime, with one specific task to accomplish, which is the realization and the revealing of who we truly are, the authentic self, the true self, the son, the daughter of the divine that each one of us is. We could accomplish 100 other things. We could amass great wealth. We could demonstrate great authorities and powers. But if we miss knowing who we truly are and sharing our own unique gift with the world, it would be as if we had done nothing. So this day, amid all the doing, pause right now, take a deep breath, and say, "May I know myself better this day. May I give of myself better this day. May I receive the self that I truly am with every thought, with every breath, with every action, sharing it with my world. I could accomplish 100 other things, but without this, it is as if I had done nothing." I love that reading, and I hope you do too.
Here's another song that's fresh off the press. When Liz was saying that what she wanted to talk about this week was living with purpose or living with a sense of purpose, this story from my own experience kind of came to mind. And I've talked about this before in Unity, but I've never put it in the form of a song quite like I have tonight. You can tell it's a little bit late at night, and my voice is a little bit ragged again, but I'll give it my best shot. Sitting on a boulder at the edge of a stream, early morning fog makes it feel like a dream. Peering at the water beneath my reflection, fish swim aimlessly in every direction. My mind fills with images of 2 nights before, when my heart broke open at her unanswered door. I don't want to understand, I don't need to know why. I'm too tired to hold back my tears, I cry. I'm crying to the universe, I'm crying to the trees. If I wasn't so weary, I'd climb to my knees. My voice gets ragged as my cries reach their end. Sobs quiet down as silence sets in. Into the stillness my inquiry flows. There's only one thing that I'd like to know. If the love I've been seeking can never be found, why am I here? Why am I still around? As soon as I whisper, the voice in my head suddenly stops as I hear what it said. A lifetime of suffering begins to unwind as I see through the folly of the quest I've defined, as my own inner dialogue begins to subside. Another voice emerges from the depths inside. It's a voice without images, a voice without words. It requires a heart that is open to be heard. Within you lies a gift as precious as pearls. It's the difference you're here to make in the world. Your talents are the way that your gift is given, a connection between the earth and heaven. You may be a little disappointed to find that to you your gifts seem to be an ordinary kind. That's only because they're so normal to you. But to someone who needs them, they're a miracle true. You don't need to wonder why you're here anymore. You have all you need, of that you can be sure. Show everyone you meet the highest care. When your gift is given, it's an answer to a prayer.
So I'm going to begin today's lesson with a little story. A drunk man who smelled a lot like beer sat down on the subway next to a priest. The man's tie was stained and his face was plastered with red lipstick, and a half-empty bottle of gin was sticking out of his torn coat pocket. He opened up the newspaper and began reading. After a few minutes, the man turned to the priest and asked, "Say, Father, what causes arthritis?" "My son, it's caused by loose living, being with cheap, wicked women, too much alcohol, and a contempt for your fellow man." "Well, I'll be damned," the drunk muttered, returning to his newspaper. The priest, thinking about what he had said, nudged the man and apologized. "I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to come on so strong. How long have you had arthritis?" "I don't have it, Father. I was just reading here that the Pope does." Well, I hope that brought some humor and laughter and a smile to your face, because God knows we could use some of that these days. I know I could, so try to bring a little more silliness into my world in the midst of the things that don't feel as silly, but looking for it, we can always find it. Whatever we look for, we can find. So I know I'm turning off the news and I'm looking for the blessings and things that can cheer me up. And I trust and know you are doing the same. So today we are coming back to complete the 7-week series of talks and lessons that were coming from the book, Happy for No Reason, 7 Steps to Being Happy from the Inside Out, written by Marci Shimoff. This is an excellent book. We have some here at our church, and if you'd like one, we would be happy to send it to you, because I believe we could do that. So our 5 Sunday talks in March, because we took a 2-week break for Passover and Easter, but our 5 talks in March were based off of Marci Shimoff's research and her interviews with the Happy 100, folks that were really, truly happy. And those folks, she discovered, had happiness habits. And it was about not pursuing happiness, but practicing happiness. So she took this information that she gained from the Happy 100 and research she had done, and these 21 habits, and created a metaphor of building a happiness home with the 7 steps. Our first week, we covered laying the foundation of our house, which is taking ownership of our happiness. The next week was the pillar. There's 4 pillars. The pillar of the mind, which is don't believe every thought you think. The next pillar was the pillar of the heart, and that is letting love lead. The third week, or the 4th week, but the 3rd pillar is the pillar of the body, and that was making your cells of your body happy. And the last week of March, we did the pillar of the soul, and that was about plugging into spirit. And if you want to hear any of these talks, they are available on the Unity of Fort Collins website. So this week, we are putting the roof. We're putting the roof on our happiness home. And the roof, want to know what it is? Do you? I know you can't answer me. It's so interesting. It's purpose. It's the purpose of life. Now, my question is, how many of you know what your purpose of life is? Raise your hand. Higher. I can't see it. Oh, there you go. Franklin raised his hand. Cool. Yeah. Normally, I'd be able to see you. But I know that some of you actually do know what your purpose of life is. And that's excellent. I guess my question for you is, how much are you living your purpose in life? And for those that do not, well, that's fine too, because we have an opportunity today to look at purpose and why it's important, what it is, and discover what those 3 happiness habits are for the living our life of purpose. Now, the Happy 100 all feel that they came to Earth and here for some purpose. She heard this again and again and again, where people were living from inspiration, a sense of purpose and meaning, and living in the moment. So I have some other things that I will be adding to Marci Shimoff's work. Purpose, actually, contrary to popular belief, is not necessarily our job or our professions. Our purpose is so much bigger than that. Marci Shimoff says that our purpose is actually an overarching intention to do what's meaningful in your life. One of my favorite Unity teachers down in Orange County, California, Dr. Reverend Marge Britt, writes about purpose. She says that we have two sides of purpose. She says, your life has an inner purpose and an outer purpose. Inner purpose concerns being and is primary. Outer purpose concerns doing and is secondary. Our inner purpose is to awaken. Our outer purpose can change over time. Finding and living in alignment with the inner purpose is the foundation for fulfilling our outer purpose. Well, that makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm so in agreement with it. Purpose is actually the whole reason I got involved in ministry, because when I was 19 years old, I needed to know what the purpose of life was. And it set me on a journey of exploration and determination that I needed to know what the purpose of life is. So this topic today is absolutely probably one of my most favorite topics, and I have so many things to share, but I've narrowed it down to the things that I felt were important today. And Deepak Chopra happens to be one of my favorite authors, and the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success contains within it, and it's a class I love to teach, is that there is the law of Dharma, or purpose in life. And I'm going to read to you what the 7th spiritual law of success is. It is, the purpose of life says that we are spiritual beings who have taken physical form to fulfill a purpose. Everyone has a purpose in life. Everyone. We all have a unique gift or special talent to give to others. And for every talent and expression of that gift, there are some unique needs. When we blend our unique talent with service to others, we experience the ecstasy and exaltation of our spirit. He writes, this is the goal of all goals. So in the law of Dharma, he says that there's 3 components. And see if these don't sound familiar to anything I've already just spoken. He says that the first component is that we are here to discover our true self, which is our spiritual self. That's what Marge Britt just said. We are here to know and experience that we are individualized expressions of that one power and presence, living as spiritual beings in a spiritual universe. So number 1, to know who we are. Who are we, truly? Without the names and titles and roles and expectations. Who are we? Without that, without all the other stuff. Number 2 component of the law of Dharma is that we each have a unique talent that we are here to express. That our talent is so unique that no one else has the talent or the expression that we have of that talent. That's a good way to put it, because I think, oh, there's other people that have the same talents as I do, except that I'm a unique expression of that talent. And the truth is, so are you. It says when we are expressing our unique talent, we are happy and we often lose track of time. And the last, 3rd law of Dharma says that we are here to serve our fellow human beings with our talent. By asking the question, how can I help all those whom I come in contact with? We combine the expression of our unique talent with service to humanity, and we make full use of that law of Dharma. So we understand that having a purpose is important. And there are benefits There are benefits to having a life on purpose. And I'm going to share with you 4 of them. And this is from the Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. The benefits of a purpose-driven life. Number 1, knowing your purpose gives meaning to your life. We're actually made to have meaning, and we happen to be meaning-making machines, if you've never noticed. If you don't know something, we are always putting meaning on things. That's a very interesting thing to know, but we are meaning-making beings. And when life has meaning, we can actually bear almost anything. Without it, nothing is bearable. It's said that the greatest tragedy is not death, but life without purpose. So having meaning in your life, number 1. Number 2, I love this one. Knowing your purpose simplifies your life. It defines what you do and you don't do. Your purpose becomes the standard you use to evaluate which activities are essential and which are not. Without a clear purpose, we don't have any foundation to base our decisions, to allocate our time and resources. We will tend to make our choices on circumstances, activities, and our mood if we don't have a purpose. People who don't know their purpose actually end up often doing too much. Purpose-driven living means that we live a saner and simpler life. Number 3, knowing your purpose, I love this one too, focuses your life. It concentrates your effort and your energy. And it's human nature to get distracted by minor issues. Anybody relate? Right? Rick says, we play Trivial Pursuit with our lives. And Henry David Thoreau observed that people live lives of quiet desperation. But today, a better description might be aimless distraction. Without a clear purpose, we keep changing directions or jobs and relationships, hoping that every change will help to settle the confusion and fill the emptiness. Maybe this time will be different, but it doesn't solve the real problem, which is a lack of focus and purpose. An example of this can be seen in light. When you have diffused light, it has no real power or impact. But if you take that light and you concentrate it into a laser beam, taking a magnifying glass, the rays of that diffused sun magnified and put into focus can set grass or paper on fire. When light is focused, it can cut like a laser beam through a beam of steel. So having purpose gives us focus, and that's powerful. And the 4th area of why it's beneficial to have a purpose, it creates motivation, because purpose always produces passion, and passion is all about energy. George Bernard Shaw writes, "This is the true joy of life, the purpose of being used up for a purpose, recognized by yourself, is a mighty one." So to have motivation, to have focus, simplified life, and meaning are the benefits. And those that are committed to some purpose in life are actually so much happier too, I'm sure. Marci Shimoff says that when we don't have a sense of purpose in life, it's like having a leaky roof. I like that. It can rain unhappiness almost all over every other aspect of your life. So finding your purpose is important. And it's not a job, and it's not a profession. It's more of a calling. And I have a short story to illustrate this. One day, an old woman walked up to a dusty building site where 3 strong young men were working hard on laying bricks. She walked up to the first man and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, rather rudely, "Can't you see? I'm laying bricks. That's all I'm doing. I'm just laying bricks." Well, then she went up to the second man and asked what he was doing. And he replied, I'm a bricklayer and I'm doing my work. I take pride in my craft, and I'm happy that what I do helps feed my family. As she walked up to the third man, she could see that his eyes were full of joy and his face was as bright as day. When she posed the same question to him, he exclaimed with great enthusiasm, "Oh, I'm building the most beautiful cathedral in the whole world." It isn't the activity, this is important. It isn't the activity in your life that defines your feeling of purpose. It's your perspective. I'm going to repeat that. It isn't the activity in your life that defines your purpose. It is your perspective. And an example from my life, I worked for an agency called Warrior Sage. And we did these these illumination intensives. They were 5-day retreats, and we had a master up on the stage, and we had various people in positions, and there was 100 people doing, "Who are you? What are you? What is another?" And it was a back and forth, and it was a silent retreat, and you concentrated basically on one specific question, and you stayed with it to find the absolute truth of who you are or what you're about. I started in this work at the bottom rung, which is a silent monitor, which means I didn't have conversations or wasn't allowed to speak basically to anyone except the staff. And so I was the person that got to continually fold up things, straighten up the chairs when they needed to be straightened up, served meals, and cleaned the bathroom. Even though we were in a hotel situation, we went in and continually, when the folks were in doing their work in the main hall, I was in the bathroom just wiping everything down again and again, because we knew that illumination could happen anywhere, even in the toilet stall. And what came from this experience for me was to recognize that the work the master was doing on the stage was just as important as the work I was doing in cleaning the bathroom stalls. There was no difference. What I was doing was the same work he was doing. It didn't matter if I was in the stage or in the stall. It was the intention from what I was coming from, that the work that we were doing was the same. It didn't look the same. But to me, it was all about the perspective that I brought to it. And we can change our perspective. You may not love the work that you're doing, but you can bring love to the work that you are doing. You may not love the work, but you can bring love into it, which can shift the whole aspect of it. So a couple questions for you. Here's the difference between having an inspired life and a non-inspired life. You're either in the position, and I'm just going to ask, are you going through the motions uninspired? Are you feeling lost, bored, undirected, resigned, and just feeling like you need to take care of yourself? These aren't bad things. These are, though, the idea of contraction. Or you can live from that place of expansion where you're living and acting from inspiration. You feel engaged, purposeful, and passionate, and you feel like you are in service to another. So, wherever you are on that spectrum, and it can change, we're going to look at the 3 happiness habits of how you can live this type of a life with a purpose. The first one is to find your passion. You want to know how to find your passion? Raise your hand. Okay, I see your hand. Cool. So, to find your passion, what you have to do is you have to stop. S-T-O-P, that's it. You just need to stop and ask perhaps some of these questions. If we stop our busy activities, we can ask ourselves these important questions. And here's the thing. I think the universe has given us a stop in this pandemic. And this is a gift. This is a time where there are gifts being given. These aren't even may-dos anymore. I think they're the must-dos. Spirit goes, do you know your purpose? Would you like to know your purpose? Well, I'm going to invite you to write down some questions as I continue with today's talk, because these are things that you can be doing this week. First question in helping discover and find your passion is to ask, number one, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? Number two, what do you love to do? What makes your heart sing? What brings light and joy to your being? What makes your soul smile? What lights you up? What is it that you do that time tends to stand still or speed by? What are you really good at? And what are your skills and talents that you most enjoy? If you had all the money in the world, what would you do? There's a lot of questions that you can ask. To sit and ask these questions is the key to finding out what your passion is. There's also something called the passion test, which you can take, you can find online. It's, I believe it's yourpassion.com. And that is another way. It's by Janet Atwood and Chris Atwood, and it's called the Passion Test Online. That could take you into a more extensive way to finding your passion. But just answering these questions can get you there. Next, happiness habit number 2 is about following the inspiration of the moment. Inspiration means to be in spirit. It means to be fully engaged with the spirit that is breathing me, that is breathing you. And when we know what our passions are, which is the key, you have to start somewhere without knowing what you're passionate about, what you love, what fills you up. Your passions are actually spirit's passions that want to be experienced and expressed by means of you and me. So to discover those is the first step. And once you're clear on what your passions are, you're actually available now to be inspired into taking actions. Marci Shimoff writes, you know what you want to do, but you don't know how it happens. Well, here's the thing. Inspiration will lead you to the how. So we get to know the what our passions are, and Spirit will pick up the ball and to give us what it is that we can do in our actions and activities to support our purpose. Jack Canfield from The Secret writes, when you're traveling in a car at night, you have headlights that can only see 200 feet in front of you. And yet you rely upon, that's all you need is 200 feet at a time. And you can't see the destination, but you can see the 200 feet. So I'm going to give you 3 questions that you can practice in the morning and throughout the day to help you with that 200 feet. 3 questions. And these would be things that you would just take the time to take a breath in, close your eyes. And the first question is, what would Spirit have me do? What would Spirit have me do today? Then listen. Next one is, where would Spirit have me go? I know you can't go a lot of places right now, but ask the question anyway. And even when the pandemic is especially over, you might hear something come through. Where would Spirit have me go? Third question, what would Spirit have me say? And to whom? What would Spirit have me say? And to whom today? Doing this throughout the day will give you that 200 feet, and that's all we need. We know what our purpose is because we have written it out, but now we know we don't have to know the actions, but asking those questions gives us the direction and the beam of light we need. And happiness habit number 3, contributing to something greater than yourself. I love the quote by Albert Schweitzer, who's a physician and a humanitarian, and he says, I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I do know, the ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. The happiest people in the world didn't search for fame or fortune or power or wealth, any of that. They just knew that there was something to do. And you don't have to be a Mother Teresa to be giving. When you discover what matters to you, your everyday actions can serve the world in small and large ways. And it doesn't matter because how you serve, because there's 100 million ways that we can serve. There can be wildlife, social justice, making sure children have access to the arts, ending illiteracy. You can be in Big Brothers, Big Sisters, volunteer, feed the homeless, make masks, which many of you are doing. You can write letters or visit folks when you're allowed in some future time in assisted living homes. Everyday choices about what we eat and what we're drinking and shopping. You can make donations, and they don't have to be large ones. $10 to $20 can feed a family for a week, or buy a cow or a sheep and through Heiferland International, which is one of my passions. It doesn't require that you have money. You can even give exchange of your time, your prayers, and your caring. Giving is important as long as we don't overgive, because giving of yourself sometimes can happen, and we don't want to overgive because that means we're looking to fill up some inner emptiness perhaps. So finding your purpose is important, and knowing that everything we do can and does make a difference. This coming Wednesday at our meditation at 6 p.m., I am going to be leading a meditation on how that we can actually discover a life of service to others. So I'm going to invite you to join me this Wednesday to have a call to serve visualization to assist you in this journey. I'm going to close with a story, and it's called Making a Difference. Teacher Mrs. Thompson and Teddy. As she stood in front of her fifth grade class on the first day of school, she told the children an untruth. Like most teachers, she looked at her students and said that she loved them all the same. However, it happened to be impossible because in the front row, slumped in his seat, a little boy named Teddy Stollard. Mrs. Thompson had watched Teddy the year before and noticed that he didn't play well with other children. His clothes were often messy, and he could be really unpleasant. It got to the point where she was starting to take satisfaction and delight in marking on his papers big, bold red X's and putting an F at the top of his papers. Now, at the school where Mrs. Thompson taught, she was required to review each child's past records, and she puts Teddy's stuff off until last. However, when she got to his file, she was in for a surprise. Teddy's first grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is a bright child with a ready laugh. He does his work neatly, has good manners, and he's a joy to be around." Teddy's second grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is an excellent student, well liked by his classmates, but he's troubled because his mom has a terminal illness and life at home must be a struggle." Teddy's third grade teacher wrote, "His mother's death has been hard on him. He tries to do his best, but his father doesn't show much interest, and his home life will soon affect him if some steps aren't taken." Teddy's fourth grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is withdrawn and doesn't show much interest in school. He doesn't have many friends, and he often sleeps in class." By now, Mrs. Thompson realized the problem, and she was ashamed of herself. She even felt worse when her students brought her Christmas presents wrapped in beautiful ribbons and bright paper, except for Teddy's. His present was clumsily wrapped in brown wrapping paper from a grocery bag. Mrs. Thompson took pains to open it in the middle of all the rest of the presents. Some of the children started to laugh when she found a rhinestone bracelet with some of the stones missing and a bottle that was 1/4 full of perfume. But she stifled the children's laughter when she exclaimed how pretty the bracelet was, putting it on and dabbing some of the perfume on her wrist. Teddy stayed after school that day just long enough to say, "Mrs. Thompson, Today, you smell just like my mom used to. After the children left, she cried for at least an hour. On that very day, she quit teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic. Instead, she began to teach children. Mrs. Thompson paid particular attention to Teddy. As she worked with him, his mind seemed to come alive. The more she encouraged him, the faster he responded. And by the end of the year, Teddy was one of the smartest children in the class. Despite her lie that she would love children all the same, Teddy had become one of her teacher's pets. A year later, she found a note under her door from Teddy telling her that she was still the best teacher he had in his whole life. 6 years went by before she got another note from Teddy. He then wrote that he had finished high school, third in his class, and she was still the best teacher he had in his entire life. 4 years after that, she got another letter saying that while things had been tough at times, he had stayed in school, stuck through it, and would soon graduate from college with the highest of honors. And he assured Mrs. Thompson that she was still his best and favorite teacher he had in his whole life. Then 4 more years passed and another letter came. This time he explained that after he got his bachelor's degree, he decided to go a little further. The letter explained she was still his best and favorite teacher, but now his name was longer. The letter was signed Theodore F. Stollard, MD. The story doesn't end there. You see, there was yet another letter that spring. Teddy said he had met this girl and he was going to get married. He explained that his father had died a couple of years ago, and he was wondering if Mrs. Thompson might agree to sit in the wedding in the place that was usually reserved for the mother of the groom. And of course, Miss Thompson did. And guess what? She wore that bracelet, the one with the 7 rhinestones missing, and she also made sure she was wearing the perfume that Teddy remembered his mother wearing on their last Christmas together. They hugged each other, and Dr. Stollard whispered in Mrs. Thompson's ear, "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson, for believing in me. Thank you so much for making me feel important and showing me that I could make a difference." Mrs. Thompson, with tears in her eyes, whispered back. She said, "Teddy, you have it all wrong. You are the one who taught me that I could make a difference. I didn't know how to teach until I met you." We can never tell what the impact we have on each other's lives are by our actions, our words, or a lack of action. Please consider this as we venture forth for our purpose in life. Martin Luther King says, "No work is insignificant. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance." And Albert Pinn says, "What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others in the world is and remains immortal." I trust that you are going to take this lesson, this talk to heart, and put that roof on without any leaks. Discover your life passion this week. Take the time to answer the questions. Take the time to look for the inspired actions of what Spirit would do, where He would have you go, and to whom you would speak. And know that there is something that is calling you forth into serving the world. You serve the world with your presence, your beingness. And I'm so grateful for your presence in my life. Every one of us makes a difference, whether we know it or not. And so give yourself a hug and tell yourself, "Well done. You are blessed. You are perfect as you are. And I know your life purpose is here and you have meaning. You mean a lot to me. And I thank you." Until next week or Wednesday, when you show up for meditation, have a blessed week. Love you. Bye for now.
It's time now for our thoughts or prayers, and may the blessings. Between these 2 songs, there's a period of silence, and I just want you to be aware of that so you won't think anything is wrong with your recording when you don't hear any sound. thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is everywhere. And every thought's indeed a prayer. May the blessings of God rest upon me. May God's peace abide in me. May God's presence illuminate my heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide in you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon us. May God's peace abide in us. May God's presence illuminate our hearts now and forevermore. Now and forevermore.
So it is this time in our service, in our in-person church service, we normally would say it is time to give of our love, our tithes, our gifts, our offerings. And so I'm going to invite you today or sometime this week, if you're so called and moved, to bring some of your love in the form of a donation to our center. You are invited to do so. And I just want to, first of all, thank you, because there are so many generous folks, and you have been pouring your love out in this way by sending your checks, by donating online, and I am amazed and I am blessed to be the spiritual leader here, to know that we have a very generous, giving, love-filled community, and I thank you for your blessing. So we are going to say now our prosperity blessing together. So I invite you, when you do this, sending it in or making your donation this week, remember to put it on your heart. And if you choose, you can say this with me now and also in the future. And so together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you're only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you are only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Now it is time to bring in the kids. So if you have an inner child, Froggy says, come on in. This is going to be the time where our youth director, Pam, has a story for the kids. And you can bring your inner child if you don't have any kids. Frog is here to support you. And frog means fully rely on God. So you can join us. Are we going to be singing I believe, yes. There's a singing going on before Pam's story, and that is This Little Light of Mine with Franklin. Enjoy. Bye, says Froggy.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Down on the corner of Lions and Vine, I'm gonna let it shine. Down on the corner of Lions and Vine, I'm gonna let it shine. Down on the corner of Lions and Vine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Hello. I have a wonderful book to read. It's called I Am Peace, a book of mindfulness. But first, are you sitting on your bottom? Put your hands in your lap. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it in your body. Blow it out your mouth. Do you know why we do this? When I take a deep breath in and hold it in my body and then blow it out, it quiets my mind, it calms my body. If I'm ever too mad or sad or hungry or lonely or tired or scared or mean or confused, I try to stop and take a deep breath and hold it while I count and then blow it out. If you don't feel better the first time you do it again. And it always helps me. I hope it helps you. So here's our story. I Am Peace, a book of mindfulness. There are times when I worry about what might happen next and what happened before. The thoughts in my head are like rushing water, and I feel like a boat with no anchor. being carried away. I give myself a moment. I take a breath. Then I tell myself it's all right. I feel the ground beneath my feet and steady myself. And start to notice the here and the now. My thoughts begin to settle. My mind begins to clear. I am peace. I can watch my worries gently pop and disappear. I let things go. I can say what I feel inside out loud. I know myself. I can share kindness with others. I make a difference. Can you see what that is? It's an acorn. I can hug a tree and thank it for its beauty and strength. I connect to nature. I can watch the clouds make shapes against the sky. I know wonder. I can taste and smell and touch and hear and see what is all around me. I use my senses. I can feel my breath, feel my whole body. I tune into me. Now the water is still. I have found my anchor, and everything is all right. I don't need to worry about before or after. I am in this moment. I am peace. Now I share my peace with others and hope that it is carried away to those who need it. And I dream we are peace. Isn't that a good story? Thanks for listening.
And now I invite you to join me as we speak our prayer of protection together. And again, if you'd like to put your hands upon your heart to anchor this, please say with me, the light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as our creator, family all are we, as we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And so I bid you the best week ever. You are special. You are loved beyond measure. May you know who you are. Remember, the divine is right where you are, and anything that you're facing this week, the divine within you is so much bigger and greater. And we are opening to great blessings this week. I know I am, and I know you are too. If you have any needs, please give me a call or call the office. We love you. Namaste.